Welcome to The Old World Lives, a Warhammer Fantasy Battles podcast. You can find us on Facebook at The Old World Lives, on Instagram at The Old World Lives, and you can reach us by email at theoldworldlives@gmail.com. And now, on to the episode.
This episode of The Old World Lives was recorded during the last half of September. Sorry it's taken a while to get it released. We here at the cast hope you are all well in these times and are taking care of yourselves and your families. Speaking of families, this episode comes with a language warning. Just so you know. Now, on to the episode.
Hello and welcome to episode 30 of The Old World Lives, a Warhammer Fantasy podcast. I'm Chris, and with me tonight I have Niklas.
Hello, everyone.
Jimmy.
Hi, I'm the local alcoholic.
And believe it or not, we even got...
And I am the remote alcoholic.
You're sure of something. And this is episode 30, so we're not going to do anything proper. We're just going to sit here, hobby, and be merry.
You can be Pippin.
Fair enough.
Fool of a took!
So yeah, we don't really have a topic tonight. We're just going to sit around and paint and talk about what we've been doing.
Yeah. And since one of us haven't been on for a really long time, I reckon he should start, because he claims he has been painting. I think
That's no way to talk about Niklas. Niklas is on every now and again. Sorry about that, Niklas.
Yeah, but speaking of, you've been painting. I don't think you even presented your Beastmen properly, so you can start with them.
Well, it's kind of hard because I did them for 8th edition, which means that I've got somewhere in the realm of 80 gores. And just to piss Jimmy off, because this is like a personal affront to him that eats to the very core of his heart, I've got a large chariot base with a fallen tree, as well as like a runic stone from the Cygor kit. The big cow-headed dude who's not the new high elf equivalent. So I have like a forest with a fallen stone, and that's an equivalent of 8 dudes. And then I have 45 gores.
We do know that you're using that chariot base as a stand-in for a skirmish unit.
No, actually, I'm using it as a unit filler, which you usually have when you have a unit, Chris, which I believe is a novel concept, but I'll get back to it for you. I also actually played a game of 6 recently, and I used it as a terrain piece. I'm really into the idea of using all of my unit fillers for terrain pieces because, basically for me, they're just small squares right now of, snow-covered stumps, fallen trees, a haunted copse tree full of undead souls. I'm actually thinking of borrowing your technique with the contrast, Chris, because I think you did a really great job with those spirit hosts.
So if you need a recipe, just hit me up after this so we can help you out with the technique, because it's quite mixing with inks and stuff.
Yeah, I'll pick you up on that. The problem is last time I asked you for a recipe, your tip was that I should drink 2 pounds of smelting lead, which I'm pretty sure is not the way to actually make a character, but I tried it, man.
Yeah, but it would help everyone else.
And yet, here you are.
Yes, I guess I just didn't have the stomach for that method.
Burning hot keys trick.
Yeah, I got fire in my belly. Call me an ogre. So anyway, I finished up all of my Beastmen. So now, even if I play 2,000 points of 8th edition, which is basically, like 2 huge fistfuls of gores, I finished up... Oh, I finally got my damn Emir's Minotaurs. They got stuck in customs like, 2 or 3 weeks. So now I have my 6. I think they even threw in like a free Minotaur. So I got a full command, and I got actually a BSB Minotaur. I don't know if I'm going to use him as a squaddy or like a command squad or an actual BSB, because ever since me and Niklas went through the book, I'm really keen on making like a Slaanesh BSB. But I also sort of want to give him the proper mutation the Slaanesh guy would get. Yeah. I've got a hard time thinking without making weird sounds when we're recording. I'm actually bad at getting my proper setup today. So beyond the BSB and the Minotaurs, I also have, I think I still have like 2 Beastmen metal models. Among them, the dual-axed hero guy who actually got me into Beastmen. I still have him in metals, and I've got a bunch of war gores, maybe 10 bestigores, and those Minotaurs. Except for that, I'm done. Beyond that, I recently finished off my Tomb King's army. And
Nice.
finally, thanks to Niklas, I got my coveted Khalida model. It was so fucking hard to get a hold of. I wanted metal, which is apparently impossible in Sweden without paying like the equivalent of, 30, 50 quids. It's really hard to get
long
hold of.
boats full of gold.
Yeah, I'm probably better off just doing like a trading chain, maybe buying some long drongs and then trading them for some permanent, just trading up. And finally, when I've got like, I don't know, 20 Vesperos Vendetta, I could trade it for half a Kalida. Because everybody's like, oh yeah, I want like impossible amounts of money, or do you have some like old hammers still in the packaging? I'm like, no, why would if I had that, I wouldn't be trying buying Kalida of you, like strange man living in Skåne who has had Facebook for 25 minutes. So I had to settle for Finecast. But still, thanks, Niklas. You did me a solid. I won't forget it.
Yeah. So it's scrolling. I pinged you instantly because you've been after that for months and months. I don't know, years even. I don't know.
Yeah.
What have you been talking about?
I think like 2 years. I've been after it for like 2 years because I've finished up for my Tomb King's army, and we'll just circle back to what I got. But I've got a bunch of archers, and the archers are not maybe, I guess, the most gamey or optimal choice, but that's the sort of army I used to see back in the day when we played 6th edition. Like everybody who had a Tomb King's army had like long rows of archers, and it feels thematically appropriate. And I'm a huge fan for Brendan Fraser's Mummy movie. So, obviously, you got to have the archer. Also, yes, the idea of having undead who can use their measly BS2 is such a weird proposition for me. I don't know what I'm going to do in the shooting phase now. Usually I have to like twiddle my thumbs and make glib commentaries and, get drunk. Now I should have to like roll dice. My hands are shaking. I don't know what to even do in the shooting phase. Get shot at, I guess. Food for thought.
They're pretty good though. Like always hit on 5s. You can just move them forward, shoot, and then just move them into combat after a while.
Yeah, and I think Kalida like either gives them poison or just flat out raises their ballistic skill. I need to reread that. I read it a long time ago and then just repressed it with alcohol because I settled with the fact that I'm never going to find one. So now I got it. Now you just need to strip the Finecast.
Poison is just wounding on rolls to hit of 6s, right?
No, I think poison is that you always wound on a flat roll. Jimmy, help me out here. You've got to call
I think it's that they hit on 5+. I think that's the thing.
And I think hit on
6 is
yeah.
6 to hit is
And
auto, I think.
Yeah, that's right. So I also finished up that project. It turns out that when you start collecting a Tomb King's army, you got 3 choices. The first one is to like sell an infant, but my wife wouldn't approve that, even though we got 2 now. Or like a kidney or Jimmy. I tried pimping out Jimmy's like amazing green stuff skills, but it's like, oh no, I'm in Gävle and COVID means I can't get pimped out to Stockholm. Oh God, take one for the team, dude. Team me. The second one is, and I'm not kidding when I say this, you just spend ludicrous amounts of money because it's so hard finding Tomb King armies, particularly the metal ones for some reason. You can get Finecast stuff like fairly consistently. People still have some stuff wrapped, but I think all the metal ones were real passion projects, and everyone who had one finished up by now. And they don't strip to sell it.
It's like Tomb Kings and Bretonia are the 2 classical armies that are hard to find because they scrapped them first when Age of Sigmar came. So people who stocked up on Bretonia and Tomb Kings because they went when Age of Sigmar came, but the rest were still available.
Yeah, and I have to throw actually a virtual high five to Jimmy because whether or not he knows it, one of his friends in Gävle, the ineffable Martin, actually helped me out. So he sold me a bunch of Tomb Kings from a friend that was getting rid of them. So now I actually have some horsemen.
Nice.
And I won an auction. There was a guy who's going to sell me some Tomb King stuff. And we were like haggling about the price. And it's like, no, I think I'll get more money if I just auction it off. I'm like, come on, dude, let's give you 20 quid for like this Lich Priest and these Tomb Kings and like a chariot and some horsemen. It's like, no, I'll auction it. So he went to an auction and I think he sold all of it for like 16 quid to me. Free freight. Haha, suck it. My God. So I have like unpainted metal Lich Priests and like, I think the old Tomb Guard BSB, both the foot one and the horsey one. So
you have the limited edition one, which is practically the same. It is actually the same model, but with a different banner top.
Is that like the crescent one with the hangings on it? Because I got that one.
That's the. I think the special edition one is just bigger.
Yeah, is that one you got in the army box, right? Because that's what you used.
Yeah,
I got that one somehow. And I also have like the 2 metal Tomb Guards, another 2, which is great because I got one from Jens. Jens, I'll pour some Coke on the floor. I hope my kids are good at cleaning. They should be good at something. I gave my life for them. A part of my life, part of my heart. Don't ask. Magic. So yeah, magic's bullshit at this juncture. So yeah, now I have some tomb guards, and the Mel tomb guard I got from Jens, I pimped them up a bit and I made them into tomb prince actually, because the old tomb guard models are really, really nice. I mean, they're regal, they've got a good poise, they have like a slight cackling sneer on the skulls. They fit in great, particularly next to the plastic tomb guards, which are way more mobile and a bit of lumbering forward. And I think the fact that he's reclined and more of, relaxed of go ye forth and do my bidding, ye willing warriors, that means that he's really suitable to use as a HQ character.
Nice.
Yeah, so I finished up my Tomb King's army. It's enough to play games in 6th edition, because it's basically like, I think 6 Tomb Swarms, a Giant, a bunch of archers, a Tomb Lich Priest, a Tomb King and a Tomb Guard, and, and a Scorpion. Shit, I love that Scorpion model. It's so fucking good. And I've still got some Ushabti to do, and a bunch of like plastic Tomb Guard and horsey dudes I just got. And actually, I managed to get my hold on 2 chariots. Chariots where the crew is not glued in place. So I'm going to magnet some square bases, so I can just put either the crew in, or the Tomb Guard, or the Lich Priest. No, Tomb King or Lich Priest. Or maybe like, can a BSB be in a chariot? I didn't check that. I think maybe you can.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
If there's a restriction on it, it's in the hero itself.
Yeah, no, you're right. I don't think so, because he can take a chariot and he can take the banner. Yeah, I'll investigate. Thanks, Chris. So yeah, I finished up.
Do you want me to check when I have the army book in front of me?
Yeah, if you wanna.
Also, the Khalida. Sorry. I was gonna say the Khalida upgrade is +2 points and gives poison attacks for archers.
For all of them, or the one that she's in the unit with?
I think you can upgrade any archer in your army for 2 points to get poison attacks.
Blessing of the Asp, units of skeletal bowmen, skeletal light horsemen, and chariots in an army that includes Queen Khalida may be given the Blessing of the Asp at the cost of +2 points per model. All shooting by these units counts as poison attacks. Also, she's flammable for all those lovely Rune of Fire attacks from Dwarf.
Yeah, nice. I'm looking forward to this.
Fucking dwarf players just licking your shops off in the background, like,
yes.
Yes. This
and our strength 7, goddamn ballistas.
Or just rune of flight and Rune of Fire on a hammer.
Yeah.
Put it back in your fucking pants. I'm like that poor girl on the couch surrounded by like huge Ushabtis. You haven't seen the pictogram. It's a pretty ancient reference, but it checks out. So I finished up like 2,000 points or 1,250 of Tomb Kings, depending on how many magical items I have. However, it's only valid for 6th edition, because for some forgotten reason, in 8th edition, Tomb Swarms aren't core choices anymore. I mean, they don't cost anything, but they move them over to like special or rare. But don't ask me why. So currently for that army, I'm working on my Ark of the Covenant, Indiana Jones style, which is actually way, way better in 6th edition, but that's not why I got it S. I don't know. I think you guys agree with me here, particularly Chris, who gave me the tools in the form of like Vallejo True Metals Gold. I just love it, because it's just gold, bones, emblazoning, and amazing metalworks all around. So I'm going to do it in the same style as my Bone Giant, which means it's going to be tarnished old gold. So true gold, shade, highlight, and then extreme highlight just at very edges. And then some like, you don't call it tin bits, what do you call it? Like lead belcher mixed with silver just on the very, very top surfaces. Classic, like old school style, which would look better if anyone else did it. Beyond that, I've baked a fuck ton of cinema bonds. And somehow I wound up with like a 3rd edition Carnifex. I think I'm trying to turn it into like an Ushabti, but it's way too big.
Just put an orc on the back and make it looted.
Yeah. There was something else. Oh yeah, shit, I played a game not too long ago too.
Ooh. Do you want to know about the Icon Bearer before we move on?
Yeah, hit me.
You can have 0-1 Icon Bearer for 65 points. And you can put him in a chariot for 45 points and replacing one of the crew. No, displacing both skeleton crew. Or you can put him on a skeleton steed.
There you go. Banner on a chariot.
Yes, it worked out fine. Thanks.
So, game.
There was something else. Yeah. So, I also got a bunch of spearmen. Like I bought, I don't know, I feel really good. But Martin sold me like a good half of an army. So I've got like spearmen, and I'm going to throw a Tomb Prince in there, just theme the unit to his size and like the color of his shield. And even more bowmen. I got a couple of like bowman upgrade kits. The bowman upgrade kits are consistently awful because they only work with the old style bobblehead skeletons. I tried like converting them with the new ones. Yeah, I know, because nobody like sells the old skeletons. Everybody threw them away and like destroyed them with your hatred style when the new kit was released. Or, you know, they're covered in just layers and layers of bleached skull. Fortunately,
thick paint, real thick paint. Yeah,
extra thick. Also, what they are good for, and I've never really considered it, but I mean, of course, it'll work. You just use them on horsemen, because any skeleton horseman, you just pop off one arm and you put on the bow arm as well as the quiver. And I mean, it's a bowman. You get a lot of heads and arms. I guess that's how they did the original kit. You just got like a sprue of upgrade pieces. So yeah, so my army is ready to play with. I look forward to trying it out. Before I went on formal parental leave, which might be why some of our more astute listeners have felt a decreasing migraine and an absence of headaches. I've not been on for a while. I chose to spawn, and from this blessed spawning, I now have a bunch of months in parental leave. But oh, Krell, why aren't you painting, you might get asked? And I would say, Jesus H. Christ, what's up with all these fucking questions, kid? I swear to God, you're 5 years. Oh, sorry, you're an adult. Yeah, no, so it's way harder than I thought to paint. But before I went to parental leave, I had a 2,000 point game of Vampire Counts versus Bretonnia. I was waiting for oohs and ahs and just like, oh, Krell, tell us more.
You get on.
It's
much
not
like
like
your sex life, much like your sex lives, it was unimaginative and unenthusiastic. So let me teach you this as well, then.
Someone is projecting. Move on.
Son, I'm projecting so hard. If your stomach was any paler, I'd show PowerPoint on it. So, but you're tanned now, right? Yeah, you're tanned. So yes, 2,000 points. I'm going to go through all of it because I don't remember. I rolled out Vampire Counts, of course, and I went Blood Dragons. So I had like, finally, across the years, I could finally deploy my like metallic red, like Bram Stoker's Dracula, the one with the pale skin, who has the gilded dragon on his head. And of course, he has a gilded dragon. I took pretty much all the Blood Dragon equipment. So the dragon helm, the what's it called? Like the Shield of Musilion, I think, which is basically a stolen Bretonnian shield. So he got hatred against me. I had a Vampire Count, I had a Wraith, no, I had a Tomb King, I had pretty much everything. And of course, 25 men of Graveguard. 25 Graveguard with a banner of the Barrows as well as a Wraith King is like 500 points, which is analogous to not a great time. However, he played a super fluffy like the Baron Land. Huh?
Not a great time for you or him.
For me. I mean, it's 500 points out of 2,000 for like a toughness 4 plus. You know, it's basically slow, heavy infantry. You aim it and you hope you never have to turn.
Well, we all play dwarves, pretty much. So life is like.
Yeah, except I don't have any shooting, Niklas.
And I don't that's on you. That's on you. You had the option to play dwarves or anything with shooting, and you choose not to.
I chose dignity.
That's
right.
Dignity.
You guys keep quiet. Yeah. Hey, Jimmy, you betrayed. You betrayed.
That's the best joke I heard tonight. That's the best joke I heard tonight.
Jimmy, you betrayed your grubby roots. You don't get any say in this.
Even the goblins have shooting.
I guess Jimmy just decided to streamline the entire process of killing goblins and start a dwarf army.
I mean, dwarves are actually like the missing link between Skaven and goblins, you know. Goblins are short.
Are they the thing between?
Goblins, they are the missing link between them.
I thought we didn't discuss your fanfic.
I mean, goblins are short, dwarves are short, Skaven are hairy, and dwarves are also hairy. Every race hates Skaven of those 3 races. And all those 3 races also hate elves, and elves hate all 3 equally as well.
Science.
I mean, he has a point. I really hate elves. Fucking elves. So the match itself, he played a very thematic list, which was basically had 1, 2, maybe 3 units of knights, and he had like 3 huge blocks of archers. I think he had like somewhere around 80 archers. And he had like a damsel And the thing was, he hadn't played 6th edition for a long time. So basically he took all of his like troop choices and all of his heroes and his lord. And then it's like, yeah, I think I've missed something. And then he did the math and it's like, oh yeah, I didn't take any magical items. Is that important in 6th edition? And like, you might want to recalculate your list. It was like, yeah, okay. And then it's like, wait, I didn't take any like knightly vows and stuff. Is that important? I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm educated enough. So I think we should actually have like a Bretonnia special in the future. Vive le roi. I know some of the listeners have been specifically requesting it.
At least there's a bit 3 or 4 people actually asking for it, but that would actually make us have to look for someone that is better with playing Bretonnia than any of us to make it justice.
It would actually be nice
to say is we need to find somebody that actually wants to play Bretonnia, and there ain't no one on this podcast.
What I'm trying to say is that I haven't played Bretonnia since like 6 months after the book was released in what was like 2005 to something. We need someone with more up-to-date knowledge than that.
If you have a massive,
I wanna go ahead.
If you have a massive Bretonnia army and you know what Bretonnia is about, then reach out to us.
Yeah, it would also be great to see how they evolved from the 5th edition army book into the 6th edition army book, which was their last army book.
Yeah, it's a massive difference.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, they didn't have any kind of artillery before, and suddenly they had a trebuchet.
And they lost foot knights.
Well, in 3rd edition earlier, I know they had cannons. So, but
handgunners is crazy.
Yeah.
I'd like to really hear about like the 3rd edition to 5th edition, because 5th edition Bretonnia is very Arthurian in nature. It's very like high fantasy. The king in the land is not only one, but like the flower of chivalry. We're talking like pre-Agincourt is acting honorably and like protecting the nobility, and the nobility cares about the peasantry, can in turn actually rise up. There's some social mobility actually inherent in the system. And then you get to 5th edition, which is just like, I live in Zedong, I die in Zedong. Vive le roi, we go off and I maybe one day will carry the reliquary. Everything is shit now. I'll have my dinner with my ugly bastard children. I am dead. Because, I mean, in 5th edition, everything's just horrible and the knights just exploit viciously. It's more like the worst part of like First Crusade Christianity.
I must say that there was a large gap where Krell cut out for me, and all I heard is that they hated his children.
Did you not hear my great French accent? Are you honest?
I heard you say, I hate my children in a French accent. I have no real frame of reference for this, but we're going to move on and hopefully...
Sound bite of the night. No, but basically like the differentiation between 3rd, 5th, and 6th edition Bretonnia is huge, both in theme as well as flavor text and purpose.
I love the part that they don't have gunpowder anymore because they can rise up against the knights. Like they can pierce their armors. I think that's a great reason why.
Which is true.
Yeah.
But so can a crossbow.
Well, they don't have crossbows either.
Yes. Historically, yes. But anyway, yeah. So back to the story itself. He had a lot of knights, and the thing was, he sort of hadn't really bargained on the fact that his peasants have really, really shit leadership. And the fact that my wolves, again, VIP of the match, could actually move around the stakes. So I think that like my 12-man unit of wolves routed a tremendous block of peasants. Shit, those wolves can do anything. Like they can kill sorceresses, they can fuck up like Beastmen, Skaven, legendary chaotic heroes. What can't they do? I always used to hate wolves. No, wolves are great. Knights? Probably. But I mean, they did help up to the charge inside. There was actually a really fun moment where, like, I had a Banshee and his Pegasus Knight with magic weapons attacked my Banshee. Jimmy feels this is super familiar because that Banshee either dies immediately or does everything. And then as his Pegasus tried to escape, I managed to actually catch up to him with my Graveguard because he used Van Hels. And I used this double move spells. So he got flank charged by Spirit Hosts and front charged by Graveguard.
So nice sandwich.
Yeah, that in combination with my wolves running off the map twice because they were chasing off first the peasants, and then they like co-charged inner circle knights. So he was really unlucky because his leadership was so bad that units just started fleeing from one entire side of the map. And then my Graveguards actually got into contact with his main units. He tried to like charge me in lance formation and withdraw, which worked out for a while, but then he sort of started losing maneuvering space, which, as everyone knows, when you play knights can actually be pretty fatal. So my increasingly huge skeleton bunker, which started out like I think 12 skeletons and wound up somewhere 34 skeletons, and my grave guards just kept advancing. And I have to say, my blood dragon did surprisingly well for somebody fighting on foot and fighting like ridden knights. I have to say to those Grail Knights and Inner Circle Knights are real shit fuckers. I figured if I just charged them, I could take them on, but they kept swinging all the way to the end. Oh, and his trebuchet killed itself turn 1. Both of them. No, turn 1 and turn 2. Vive le roi. So yeah, it was a really fun game. I think I'm underselling it. Basically, we just played at my place, and I don't have any real fancy terrain. So you'll see like the plastic plotted plants. Say that 5 times quickly. Plastic potted plants as like a forest, and then I just had some, like basing materials like dried grass on the glue paper. We used that as like fields, and we just put some really simple fencing around it. And then we had some of my old fancy terrains, though. Really bare bones on like on a wastelands map, but we had fun. Just playing 6th edition in your kitchen with a friend while you're like drinking coffee and goofing around. That's where it's at.
Yeah, the true old school feel.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about cutting out some cardboard mountains just for that old school feel.
Dude, you can play with flat terrain. I mean, there's people who use flat mats for hills and buildings as well as.
And they're called War Machine players, and we promise not to make fun of them anymore.
But there is an option for you.
Guess what? Playing Kings of War. That's not an option. Death before dishonor. So let's see, where are we? It's been so fucking long. I played that 6th edition game. I played another like 8th edition game. I don't think anyone wants to hear about that though. Basically, I had a lot of fun with vampires there too, but I got to use my Terrorgeist. I'm really happy with that sculpt, so it's always fun to like pull it out. But since I don't have a car, I have to like literally carry it around half of our capital, just wrapped in bubble plastic, hoping that nobody looks at me, because then it's going to tip over and break. Because it just spikes and wings. My kid ran around the apartment with it as a hat, actually. My 5-year-old. It didn't break, so it's pretty well good.
Now we just need to know, did he pick it up or did you put it on him?
No, the thing is, I keep all my shit like... You guys have seen the picture, but you've never been here. You're still welcome. I have like a walk-in closet of hobby, and I just put shit on like high shelves. And somehow he got my Necromunda stuff, which is like... It's maybe 1.5 meters above ground, so it's a bit higher than him. And he climbed up to my Necromunda shit. And then from there, he kept climbing on like some empty suitcases, Harry Potter style. And he got my like Terrorgeist and a couple of BFG ships. And basically the Terrorgeist were chasing the BFG ships around the Cape of Lego, through Brio City, around the plastic kitchen, into the fantasy forest of his old underwear he won't pick up from the floor. So they had one hell of an adventure. That's basically a Star Trek episode.
It's better than most Star Trek episodes, and probably got better scenery as well.
Yeah, but he's 5, so he's not jaded. Beyond that, I think I played that. I started working on my Skaven, but then I heard you guys like viciously mock me online, and I just got gutted. I couldn't continue.
Oh man,
fucking mean assholes. I still have like 20 clan rats just waiting. They're like, quick, paint us. I'm like, talk to Jimmy. They're like, quick, fuck that guy.
And so you haven't even listened to the latest episode that hasn't been released yet. Oh God, you're not gonna like that one then if you think that was mocking before.
Well, no, but then you have to release it, so slim pickings.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn. A spoiler for an episode that hasn't been released but will be released before this one. I'm trying to learn how to use Audacity when I'm used to Adobe Audition, which is a lot better.
Why don't you use Adobe anymore? Is it because is it the licensing thing, or?
It's I no longer currently have a student discount for the subscription, which makes it about 4 times as expensive as it was before.
Shit, you know what? I wish I'd known that before I went on parental leave. I could have hooked you up.
Damn you.
Guys, sharing is caring. Information and everything.
Any of you assholes asked me like 4 years ago when we almost started this podcast, Kristoffer, what do you do for a living? I mean, I could probably have set you all guys up with like a laptop and stuff. I mean, we get a lot of stuff over. None of you really know what I work with. I'm going to keep it like that, apparently. Why do you guys think I have so many like home-printed old army codexes that are all like laminated and actually has hard covers?
We just thought you pretended to have a job and just went to all of these find a job courses that Arbetsförmedlingen is hosting. Because that's basically what you do during those courses.
See, what you did there is you assumed that the Swedish Employment Agency did stuff, which is wrong.
No, they actually hire other companies, and those companies are basically, here, write a CV. That's what you're going to do for 4 weeks.
I know a guy whose first job out of after high school, was working as a job coach, helping other people get back into work life. That's all you guys need to know about Swedish employment system. Also, I started experimenting a bunch with the liquid metals that Chris hit me off to, and I started buying gamer grass just in droves. Shit, I love gamer grass. Sponsor us, gamer grass.
Yeah.
Well, I let you guys insult me because noblesse oblige. You guys don't know what that means because you haven't studied Latin. Because I don't know. Niklas apparently made the knives.
Now he's assuming stuff again.
Yeah, but he's old. Old people do that. They assume everything.
When I've actually met you guys in reality. Pro tip: Jimmy has horns, like actual horns. Don't move too quickly in his peripheral vision. He will bow his head and gore you.
He will spook and stampede.
Yeah, we used to be 6 people on this podcast. Do you guys remember that? Don't you think it's weird? Anyone? Listeners?
We also used to be 5 people on this podcast, but we can't find Jens anymore.
I'm right here. No, Jens isn't here. Beyond that, there's one last thing. I finally got all the pieces I needed to. Yeah, I know this much hobby at once frightens you. Efficiency just terrifies you.
I am currently painting, so you go on talk there.
Yeah, you're currently painting, not finishing up the crude point. Also, I got everything I need to finally finish up on my Mordheim project, so that's gonna be fun.
Woohoo!
And I've played a fuck ton of Necromunda, but I don't think that counts, right?
No, woohoo was so loud that the audio traveled down to Krell in Stockholm. And
woohoo! Yeah, to us it's like ghosts, because in Stockholm we don't understand what mirth and joy is. Have you guys, speaking of which, we sort of jumped over news, have you guys seen the new pseudo Armada project that's been launched, the Kickstarter?
Men det är ju inte GV.
No, it's not. But I mean, have you guys seen it? Are any of you guys interested in playing it?
The King's War thing?
Yeah. Can someone please throw me a lifeline here? No pun intended. What the fuck's the name of the boat game that GW met?
Man
That's
of
not
Man of War.
Thank you. Yeah, somebody recently launched a not Man of War Kickstarter.
But the things looks like Man of War?
Yes, very much.
Because Kings of War are releasing a Man of War.
Mantic are doing a version on Kickstarter now, right? Or should be on Kickstarter.
I thought they were just releasing it.
They were just releasing it.
Yeah,
it's called a change from Mantic.
I literally wrote Mantic plus boaty game plus boat face. My browser added boat face, and it brought me directly to Mantic Armada. Your questions answered.
There you go. I am not interested, for the record.
Because it's Mantic, or because you don't like Man of War? Because I've never played Man of War. I hear great stuff about it, but I've never played it.
Because it's Mantic.
Okay.
I don't know. If I would play Man of War, it would be as part of a fantasy campaign, and I don't want to have to port over another game to represent it. So I would just play Man of War, I guess.
But the models could be used, and some of them are quite similar to what a modern GW model would look like.
That's what I do. I play Man of War, just like Chris says, but use these models. Because Man of War ships are very hard to get a hold of. I'd probably say, if you have Tomb Kings and Bretonia at a difficulty roll of 6, then War Master is 10 and Man of War is probably around 9.
Yeah, you could probably build stuff yourself. It looks pretty similar.
It's not really my type of game. I've played Man of War before, and I never really got hooked on it. But if people want easy access to models, that's probably be a way to go.
Yeah.
Jimmy, you're being suspiciously quiet here. Sort of.
Yeah, I'm looking at the miniatures, and it's I'm not getting the Warhammer feel of the ships.
That's a lot of
ships have cannons.
Yeah, but I think it could be used to still have to work. It's you could technically use Mantic models or Kings of War models for Warhammer armies. You just need to make a bit of work for them because they don't look the same. They doesn't have the same aesthetic.
But the human ships, I like them. I do like those. But I'm not gonna play humans if I'm gonna start playing Man of War.
What about the dwarves then? Have you seen them?
No, I have not.
So
it's like, wolves catching babies.
Niklas, what have you been up to lately?
I've been up to so much fantasy. It's unbelievable. So
you do live in the promised land,
Yeah, it turned out to be.
Yeah.
You had a game the other day with a certain elf player, didn't you?
Yeah, Tim that we had on for the elf episode. We played a game at this place called Bad Moon, which is where I've had a lot of regular games recently. It's been really good. Been mostly playing against Lou and his orcs. We've had 4 games so far. 2 2,000-point games and 2 1,000-point games. So we're thinking of playing some more 1,000-point games. Because we started out playing warbands, and now most of the guys have caught up to play 1,000 points. So that's what we've been doing lately, and it's been great. And I also had another 2,400-point game at Darksphere, which is where I used to play before the pandemic. We haven't been around there much lately. They just opened up.
I love their homepage.
The Darksphere homepage is, it's very early 2000s.
Love that. It's like, hey, let's go to an internet cafe and eat Gorbis piroger while drinking battery and Jolt Cola.
Yeah.
Let's all bleach your hair.
Yeah, so I've been playing with my dwarfs only recently, and it's been a lot of fun. Oh, and I tried out my anvil and my slayers for the first time, and it seems like people have always given them shit throughout all the editions, saying that they're not very good, that an anvil is too many points, and that slayers are just not that good. But I love both of them. Like, the anvil is so good for just dishing out small amounts of damage, and the slayers just hold up the enemy army for like half of the game or even more. This is great. You can't move them. So the anvil is really good because dwarves, they have a lot of shooting, but most of the shooting, like if the enemy wants to avoid it, they can just step out of their line of sight because they can't move or fire, or move and fire. So like handgunners and crossbowmen, if you step to the side, they can't shoot you. And war machines have pretty limited fields of vision unless you put them in the middle of a field, which you shouldn't if you want to build a castle. But the Anvil of Doom has 3 damage spells that can target pretty much anything. Only one of them needs line of sight, and 2 of them you can just target any model anywhere. So yeah, I've been loving using it. It's nice to be active in the magic phase as well. Just like Krell is now active in the shooting phase, I've moved into the magic phase, which is a lot of fun. So yeah, been enjoying the Promised Land. Oh, and I also just finished a dwarf that I found. Another great thing about this land is that most posts that are from on the Middlehammer and Oldhammer trading pages are located in England. So it's really easy to get hold of miniatures. Just got hold of this old dwarf model. It's called Borax Blood Axe from like a what's the kit called?
Did you say Borat Blood Axe?
Borax.
Oh, okay.
So it's like sorry. A Dwarfs of Legend box that was released in 1985, and this is one of the models.
My knife. I like you, like kill. I kill you. Yes.
Do they have like big like elf puppets that run through the streets that everyone harass and throw stones at?
Yes, and then then the Pylians turn into rats. So you have to throw your doubloons at them. Then you ride a cart with some Midlanders around, and they just make really derogatory statements about Vesper's vendetta. And then when it gets back to Parchment, they have to correct their parents and say that it wasn't them. They knew it was a joke all the time. Borat Blood Axe is he's a real kook. He's a fun guy.
Niklas, what will you be using the model as? A Thane?
Yes, yeah, he will be a Thane.
Nice.
His new name will be Rorik Elf Cleaver.
Ooh.
And, yeah.
That axe is more of a mace than a cleaver.
Yeah, these Oldhammer axes, because they have like this big lump in the middle of it, and then just massive cleaver sticking out.
Yeah, but if they were to cast them in the metals they were using back then thinner, they would just bend and break.
They just fall off, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he will be a Thane. I have 2 other Thanes, and I'm just addicted to dwarf character models. I just have a lot of them that I don't get to use as often as I want. So I usually use the 2 other Thanes as unit champions, just have use for them. But
you should use them more, otherwise you're being insane.
So yeah, I've been using them more lately as actual Thanes. And so there's been a lot of talk of Stillmania, and the fact that you should keep your army list as it is never really appealed to me, because I want to have a big army and then be able to pick the units I want. But I think like the Thanes, they will have their names and they will have the same equipment, and I can just slot them into different lists. But I want to have I can change the troops around as much as I want, but then just keep the Thanes and the characters as they is with the equipment that they have.
Giving them a bit more individuality during the games.
Yeah.
A lot of character.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I've been doing with my Night Goblins, and it's always fun to mix it up a little bit at times. And my opponents have learned which character model has which magic items right now, so they do know where my mushrooms are and where my
Watch out for that bottle.
What?
The Leadership 10 bottle. I can recognize that as well.
Yeah, he's been visible in every game, so people know where that Leadership 10 is gonna be. And they always know that, well, my Beast Bee is gonna carry these stubborn standards. So yeah, they know I always have a block with Leadership 6 stubborn Night Goblins. Yeah. Unless I have a Warlord. Then we go with Leadership 7. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to give your entire army some character, and it's a nice way to collect character models without feeling that I already have a thing, I don't need another thing. Now you don't have to feel bad for getting more of them.
Yeah.
I don't have any games planned in the future right now, but probably not this week, but maybe the week after that I'll have some more fantasy games. Just closed my Reckland Fleshy there. Just had to do one last cool thing, like the inside of the cloak, just to make it a bit skin-like. And he's done. Now you just need to wait for the Stirland Battlemire to settle and add some grass and tufts.
Nice. I reckon you will share him to our listeners eventually.
Yeah, keep an eye out on our Instagram. Probably post them tomorrow when I get to them.
So he will most likely already be posted when this episode is out.
Yeah,
whenever that'll
Chris,
be.
Super fast and post it this night. I don't know. I'll post it in the morning. Race you to it.
Fair enough.
Jimmy, what have you been up to?
Well, I have been painting dwarves and collecting a lot of dwarves on the metal models. I talked a bit about this.
About dwarves on the Crown of Command podcast. I just started listening to them. I feel a bit ashamed actually that I haven't listened to them before, because
they're great. They're really, really great.
Yeah, I saw them on Instagram and I saw Crown of Command podcast. Oh, is this another fantasy podcast? And then I looked for them somewhere and then I didn't find them. I was all right, whatever. And then I tried again now recently, and then I saw the latest episode is with Jimmy.
Yeah.
So it's great. I listened to the first episode and then actually cherry-picked a bit. Picked the interview they did with the Polish guy that we met when we were in Poland.
Yeah.
Game of Travel, I think his name is, on Instagram. He paints fantastic scaling. And then I listened, of course, to your episode. And they're great. I love them.
Thanks. Yeah, I do have a game planned with Joshua playing on online live. So we're probably going to play goblins versus dwarfs, since he have both armies in his collections with old hammer models, and I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't played Hero Hammer yet, but I'm thrilled to do so. I used to dislike the idea of Hero Hammer, but actually looking into it, it's really a different game, and it has its own flavors. As does 6th edition compared to every other edition. I still fucking love 6th edition, but I have found a soft spot for 5th edition Hero Hammer, because creating heroes in that edition it's quite fun. But the thing is, you can overdo it and build the terrible unkillable heroes that you've heard of. But as long as you just don't do that, it seems like a fun, legit game.
Yeah, I mean, it can also be fun to just go totally over the top. Like if everyone goes over the top, then it would just be a ridiculous fun thing.
Yeah, but I know that 5th edition had its downfall when everyone started to play the tournament scene and their list builds, which often kills any edition, actually.
I remember it as mainly dragons and then the remnants of army.
I mean, you can field a big monster in 1,000 points, and that's harsh. I mean, if you can fit a dragon in 1,000 points, it's gonna wreck.
Were there like limitations even, like how many regiments you have, or
no? The only some regiments have limitations. Like take Dwarfs for example, you can have up to 1 unit of Ironbreakers, up to 1 unit of Slayers, up to 1 unit of Longbeards.
Were there any minimum?
No minimum. The minimum is percentage in your army list, so you need to use at least 25% of your regiments, I think. Then you can have 50% of your heroes, and you can
that's
have,
another thing. Like, they didn't have core, special, and rare. They only had red and
exactly
characters.
Regiments, war machines, and characters. And I think you can have like 50% war machines also, so you can have like a lot of war machines, or it might be 25%. I need to check that up. 25 sounds more right in my mind. Here's the dwarf book.
I just want to make a plug while Jimmy checks that for the Crown Command. If you haven't checked out the Crown Command, I can vouch for it. However far my word carries. If you're listening to this, hopefully you enjoy what we do. Give it a swing. Joshua's a great guy. I've been speaking to him for a couple of years. He's super supportive. He's super into the hobby. He's a good painter. And the way I see it, he's doing a lot of stuff over in Japan to reinvigorate fantasy scene, which I think is pretty awesome. Because it always makes me think about the TV series Shogun, and imagine him as Jan Blackwell just dancing into the place, and Toshiro Mifune is trying to play as Wood Elves. If you don't get that reference, you're probably born somewhere within the last century. It's not your fault. James Clavell books are pretty niche, but still, despite what I'm saying, give the Crown Command a listen. You'll probably enjoy it. Like Niklas says, you can cherry pick it. Nothing wrong about that. And he's a great guy. And if you ever want to talk to him, just send him a message. Super recommend it. It will get you interested in different editions, and that's what's great about Warhammer Fantasy Battles. There's always some edition that will appeal to everyone.
Yeah, because they talk as much about 5th edition as we talk about 6th edition. But I mean, when I was listening to it, the experience is the same. Like they fell in love with this when they started playing, and now they're going back to it, and it's just super inspiring to listen to.
Yeah. And they also have a YouTube channel where they have armor presentations, some painting sessions, and battle reports. And
it's really good. We should probably get something like that. Is YouTube new?
We will. It is,
We still have a YouTube channel, just there's nothing on it.
No content.
That's impossible, Chris, because then we would getting on your case all the time, put stuff. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, doing battle reports takes a lot of preparation.
Yeah.
So easy to whip them out on Facebook. I've been doing it actually. It's just so nice to post battle reports on Facebook. To just post some pictures, write some stuff next to the picture of what happened, and you get a battle report done in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do that a video battle report where you have to sit and edit, and you basically have to be 3 people to want to record.
Yeah, and you have to be pretty sober. You have to be pretty sober and set up proper sound and proper video, because otherwise it's going to be one of those things like when you used to have a blog and try to make a battle report. Either you put a lot of time into it, or you look at it afterwards, go shit, why did I even fucking bother? And you get super disheartened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Chris, did this happen to you?
Which the blog or I do have a blog. It's not been updated in 3 years.
Did it happen on the blog? Did you get discouraged?
No,
I like how Jim is basically Chris, Krell is talking old man language again. Is this real or not?
It's more that I went from the posting on the blog to posting on Instagram instead.
It's actually the same for me. I used to have a blog where I posted my Mordheim stuff and my Skirmish stuff, and eventually I just moved on to Instagram wholeheartedly.
Yeah, it's easier to use, and it's easier to post on the fly instead of having to edit everything and do it on the computer.
I think posting battle reports on Instagram is so annoying though, because
that's true.
And you can only take 10 pictures, and you can't put text next to the pictures. I think Facebook is so great for
It
value.
is.
Yeah, so they basically have to choose your media for the purpose of what you're posting. If you want to post just models, Instagram is great. If you want to post a battle report, probably not so much.
Go for either a blog or, like Niklas say, Facebook. It's perfect.
Also, given that I basically have everything that's needed for a setup for filming and live streaming games at home, we could do that sometime.
Nice. I'm prepping to do that at home as well, for both live games and video battle reports. So I can sit and edit and post something up. But the thing is, I need
Jimmy, get it done.
I will get it done. I've been looking at spotlights to put up in my hobby room, so it surrounds my gaming table, so there's a good light from any direction, which is important because I don't like having big shadows from the terrain.
Sweet polytheistic lord, Jimmy. Just get on doing this thing I just found out you were thinking about doing.
Give me money and I will do it today.
What have you got going on? You have a ceiling camera?
I want to get a ceiling camera, and I want to have a ceiling camera set up just so that just the table is visible, and the table is 4x4, so it shouldn't be a problem. And I need some lights, so there's good light for the table, and I will most likely also do some filming with my phone camera as well in the meantime, so there will be like two pictures going on, like two moving pictures going on at the same time, like on the TV, like you do during a Twitch stream or something. So there will be two small screens, or one big screen and the little one from the above, and this will be done in both Mordheim and Warhammer Fantasy. And I also, speaking of games, I had 2 games yesterday against my neighbor. He's been longing to play Warhammer Fantasy, so I invited him over, and we both played Empire and Orcs and Goblins, switching armies after the first game. Yeah.
So
hang on. I need to pause. Hang on.
So while we wait for Jimmy to return, does everyone have like neighbors you guys can play games with, or is it just Jimmy?
I think it's just Jimmy.
I think it's just Jimmy.
It's the ultimate dream. I don't know this.
Yeah, man, I wish so too. I'm like constantly trying to talk to people in the elevator in Sweden, which is super hard, as everyone knows, just to find out who are nerds or not. One of my neighbors actually has Monkey Island as a phone theme. Maybe I can swing him. Talking about swinging with your neighbors, tell us more about the game, Jimmy.
Yes, back again, and we played 1,250 points, both armies. Both armies belong to the same person. They're not belonging to me. They belong to my friend Victor, who keeps his small armies here. So it's his Empire, which is 20 swordsmen, 15 great swords, 10 handgunners, and a small detachment of 5 swordsmen. There's a great cannon and a captain, a life wizard, and an engineer. This army was set up against the orcs and a few goblins, because there were two spear chuckas and 5 wolf riders armed with short bow. There were 2 units of orcs. One of them had choppa and shield, and the other had additional choppas and were upgraded to big guns. There were a unit of 15 black orcs, a orc shaman, and a black orc big boss.
So you tell me about this neighbor. Like he's never played fantasy before, or how did you?
He has. He used to play like years ago. He haven't played
amazing.
Like since.
That's like the dream for playing a campaign. Just having a neighbor pop by.
Yeah, and
I haven't been that lucky since I went to folkhögskola, and we were a few people living at the school that had a gaming group.
None of you graduated. Just played endless fantasy.
It was a lot of games played, and it was one of the best year that I had. Even though, as I said, I didn't graduate that one.
I can actually I want to throw my hat in the ring here about being lucky. When I did my lumpen, mandatory military service, we actually had 2 or 3 guys and the dudes who just lived down the barracks who were super into role-playing game. And one of them actually went to SF Bokhandeln and bought the entire store supply worth of Starship Troopers, the mini game, and they started playing while we were doing weekends, so we could actually go down and I could just play miniature games there. I mean, it was on a wooden table, and we just had like empty Coke bottles. And Starship Troopers, the game, is not super deep, but it's fun. And I mean, hey.
Was that all of the models that ever sold for that game?
I think so, because SF Bokhandeln was like putting them on a sale, which is strange because I mean, I really love the Heinlenger book. It's really good. And the movie, even though we might not have seen it such, is a great piece of satire that lives and works until today. And they really expanded it, like how humanity has met other alien species, and they had like the skinnies, which is a different alien species, and they had the bugs, and they had it was surprisingly good. But like you said, it did not live for long.
If you really want to annoy Krell, send him PMs after you hear this, claiming there's a third film.
No, if you really want to annoy me, send me pictures of your Babylon 5 miniature games, because I want the Babylon 5 miniature game minis so bad. So yeah.
So what
still,
happened in
Jimmy,
the game?
can you? Yes.
He died of boredom of you.
I'm just waiting for him to finish.
If that was true, I put an onion in my belt, as was the fashion at the time.
But yeah, back to my neighbor. He's turning his eyes to start playing the undead, and he's trying to find a good model for a vampire count / vampire lord. He wants the classic von Karstein look, but he doesn't want any of the miniatures that's available right now, which is a shame because he really wants that Duke kind of look that he used to have.
Type of a failure.
Yeah, but he's going to start assembling the core troops, like going for skeletons, zombies, graveguards, black knights, etc., and go for heroes later. So it's something. He might change the course and go for another bloodline. I know he's been thinking of Strigoi, since there's a really cool model from the Age of Sigmar line right now, which you can use as a Strigoi Vampire Lord or Vampire Count.
It looks really good.
I know that you probably have a lot of stuff on your plate, Jimmy, but you should totally convert a character from.
I've been thinking about doing so.
That would be a great way for anyone to get into the hobby. Jimmy, the master, just expertly crafts a spitting image of a vampire for you.
I'm still behind in my building a model for someone else's schedule because I owe Krell a model, and I've been trying to build this Necromunda model for him.
You remember?
I've ruined 2 kits trying to get it right, but it's like, nope, I can't do this anymore. I'm going on to the next one. So maybe 3rd time's the charm.
For the first time in forever. Just a quick question. The classic witch hunter model, the guy who has like a tricorn hat and he has like a flintlock pistol and like the cloak on him. Is that a 6/7 for aphid? Is it an aphid?
Do you mean the one with who has a big sword on his back, or?
I think so. Yeah, he's more like sneaky.
That's a Finecast model which was released in 8th edition.
Okay, I'll have to check it out because I've always liked that model.
I did have one. I converted the shit out of it, and now he's a witch hunter for my witch hunter warband in Mordheim, carrying a crossbow.
Yeah, you can't still buy it. It's out of production. Too bad.
Yeah, it's a nice model though. But yeah, and I also have a game plan for tomorrow. I'm going to face another local player and his Empire Force, and I will most likely pick out my goblins. I think we agreed on playing 3,000 points, and I will be fielding a lot of goblins as usual. No war machines. That's not the Night Goblin way.
So you say that I live in the Promised Land, but it seems like you get a lot of games in Diablo as well.
Yeah, I do, but not as often as I would like to. You play more often than me, actually.
Lately, it's been great. Once a week, it's the dream.
Yeah, I hope to get more games eventually. There's more and more armies popping up here, so hopefully our working schedules match up so we can play games during weekdays after work.
Nice. So, don't pass you by, Jimmy, but Chris, what have you been up to? How did the elf experiment go? You got some new Luminate elves that you've been.
Yeah, we talked about that in the last episode when Jimmy and I recorded. But the infantry probably won't be done because I would need 2 units of them of 20, and that would be about 1,500 kroners just in miniatures. That would all need custom-made bases to make them fit because their stance is wider than 20 millimeters.
And would you consider using them as like Phoenix or something?
I'm considering using them as Mordheim minis.
Yeah.
Which we also talked about in what is still at this point unreleased, but will be hopefully released when you listen to this. The what do we call them? The Dawn Riders will be made to work though as silver helms.
Nice. And I know you got yourself a couple of other cavalrymen.
Yeah, I got a box from you right next to me.
Yeah.
That's High Elf Dragon Princess of Caledor, the lovely 6-ed models in metal and plastic horses. And they're so nice. But I'm almost thinking, what if I can make those Dragon Prince heads fit on the Dawn Rider horses? And then put the metal minis on the Dawn Rider horses. So I can have semi-hovering Dragon Princes.
Were there like a 4th, 5th edition version, and then a 6th edition version, and then the plastic ones?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, because I remember seeing those in the catalog like 2000 something, and they're like the classically painted ones are like blue and silver, right? And then the older ones are usually painted like green and red.
Green and red, yeah.
The 4th ed scheme on those are gorgeous on those old models, and I've seen them being that scheme being reproduced on the 8th ed models quite recently on Facebook, and they look really good.
Yeah, I bet like if you do like a deep red that's also a bit worn, that would look super brutal, like a modern paint scheme.
Yeah, but the unit champion from this set is the one I used for my fountain terrain piece that I did in May.
Oh yeah, it's got like his helmet tucked under his left arm.
Yeah, and a sword raised to the skies.
For honor. Yeah, it's a great model.
For honor for Caledor.
Yeah, I'm also halfway through my unit of armored archers, which is nice.
Cool. I always like the idea of putting light armor on the archers. They look a lot more uniformed than when they don't have it.
Yeah, and the only thing that you don't get are kneeling archers, but that you don't really need kneeling archers. It would have been better if there was a rank of spearmen that was kneeling in the front.
Yeah.
So you could do a nice phalanx with all the spears tilted forwards properly, but one can dream.
You know, like the artwork on the 6th edition box.
Oh, don't tempt me, Frodo.
Yeah, and they didn't have massive hands on that artwork either.
The cancerous hands.
Other than that, I'm currently painting a model for the local store. They have a 2-year anniversary painting contest that's due in the first weekend of October. So I'm painting a model for that.
Nice. What are you painting?
Sigismund, the 30k model, with the scenic base and everything.
Cool. I'm really curious seeing what you're going to do with that model. It's really nice.
Yeah, it is. It's been... I switched out the head for a helmeted one with laurels. What was that?
Did you switch out his head for an elf head?
Oh, that was... I could almost have done that just because it would fit the theme of this podcast, but no.
Just say he's in the Albion equipment.
Oh, right. The Armor of the Gods.
Yeah.
And he's using a... Maybe change up his weapon, so he's using the fusil of... something fusil.
I think the dwarves got the power sword.
Yeah, the high elves got the lightning claw and the hand flamer or flamer. Other than that, I've been painting iron hands again. So using old 30k bits to upgrade lovely new 40k models.
Yeah, and you've been looking at Mordheim again.
Yeah, I'm since I got a new table, I'm gonna build some terrain and maybe have a small table on my own, because it's way easier if, for example, Jimmy were to come visit if he didn't have to bring his entire table like he did last time.
Yeah.
Do it and film it.
Yeah.
Put something on our YouTube channel.
I could, if anyone wants, I could just put up every episode on the YouTube channel.
Nah, we need moving pictures.
Well, if you put the
Spider-Man.
if you go down to Stockholm and then just film you and crowd dancing to the episodes.
Oh. Or Krell can come up here, have a drink with me, and we can
That'd be also
record
good.
a real battle.
Just do like just record while you two are sitting on your balcony having rum and smoking cigars for hours, and just have that as the background for the episodes. I don't know if you can hear this, but there are foxes screaming outside of my window.
I can't hear it, but
I'm gonna say that if I look out my window, since there is people have heard that on recorded before when cars or mopeds go by, because there's a really long stretch of straight road right outside. There's currently a police car that has stopped someone for speeding. So.
Well, you gotta have heard that.
Yeah.
Oh, they're insane.
Are you sure that foxes?
Yeah, that's a fox.
Yeah, I know what the fox sounds like. Are you sure?
I didn't have to push the talk, but I'm pushing down so you can hear this slow.
So, Jimmy, have you seen the new rules so you can use the Hammer Hall as warbands in Warcry, so you can have elves and scared dudes with long guns and a dwarf and another elf as a warband?
I did.
There's a photo on Warcry. If people want to play that, that's great, but they could have made a better photo than just taking random models out of the collection and put on the table.
Yeah, it would have been a lot better if someone had a cohesion color scheme on the models.
Yeah, it would look great, and it's another thing to use your minutes for if you have a local community that mainly plays Warcry and not Mordheim, so like me. But a unified color scheme would have helped that so much to sell the concept of using a warband like that.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't get it, but aren't like regular dwarves in Age of Sigmar? They're in a faction together with the Dark Elves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Wood Elves.
Yes, grumble.
The Dark Elves aren't evil anymore. Not in the sense that they were in the old world. They're evil, but not that kind of evil that the dwarves hate them, or something like that.
They don't even have hatred for the elves anymore.
Maybe they're just so depressed that the old world went away that they can't even hate elves anymore.
They hate everything together.
Yeah, it does sound like the Total War campaign that I'm playing now, though, where I had to ally with the elves to fight rats and greenskin and chaos and everything else.
Oh, I'm gonna read up a rule here, actually, from 4th edition Dwarfs. I just gotta open my book here because there are special rules when dwarves ally with elves. Because in 4th and 5th edition you can ally, and we have the rule: elf grudge. Dwarves bear grudges for a long time, possibly forever. As a race, they have never forgotten or forgiven the elves for their part in the ancient wars, which ultimately led to the destruction of the old dwarf empire. Although dwarves will fight on the same side as elves when they have to, no elf character can join a dwarf unit, and similarly, no dwarf character can join an elf unit. If your army is led by a dwarf general, then elf units cannot use its leadership value, and vice versa if the army is led by an elf general. The same applies to the battle standard. If it's carried by an elf, it confers no bonuses or rerolls to dwarves. If it's carried by a dwarf, then no bonuses and rerolls are permitted to the elves. Furthermore, dwarves distrust elves so much that they dislike fighting next to them, believing that they are untrustworthy and unlikely to stand their ground. Dwarves therefore suffer a -1 leadership penalty if there are any elf units within 6 inches, to represent their mistrust and the inevitable discord in the ranks. Note that this only applies to the dwarves, not the elves, who are more far and willing to put aside the old and dusty quarrels.
Nice.
They had a lot of character in this book, actually.
I think that's the same rules, actually, as the Kislev allied rules when you're playing with Wood Elves.
Cool.
Because they don't trust anyone. Yeah, that's really cool. How did the allies work in 5th edition? Could you stake
I don't know, actually. So I haven't read in that part in the rulebook yet. But I assume that you can have a certain percentage of units from an allied force. I know I have seen dwarf armies allied with a human wizard, for example, so they get a bit of magic.
Oh yeah, what's the dwarves magic resistance like in 5th edition? How
They
does do you
don't-
read into magic anything? Because
I haven't read into magic yet, because magic is a completely different game. It's like a game within the game. But
Is
I know.
Is it like those
I
battle
know.
cards, or is that
Yeah.
released for 4th edition?
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's just like I've seen pictures of these things, but I was never playing it, so I have no idea.
I can't help you haven't played 5th ed since 2019
Before I was
something like
born.
that. Yeah, before you were born, and before 6th ed was released.
Yeah.
But it was at the time when I got into the game. That was the one that was on the table.
Yeah, I only had I only saw remnants of it when I got into the game. Just like old Warhammer boxes with the old font. Oof, ancient relics. I really respect people playing 5th edition now. Like if I started with the game back then that's probably what would have gone back to now as well. It looks like a totally different game though.
Yeah.
And it's not like we do talk down some of the other editions, but that is more of a, I think people at least understand that it's a playful thing, and if you enjoy other editions, fine, because we play more than one edition when it suits us.
Yeah, but we only talk shit about later editions, so it's cool.
Yeah.
Whoa, he's still alive.
Yeah, I'm just being quiet. Why?
Back from non-dead.
Well, you can see how we were shocked that you were quiet so long.
Why? I'm never surprised when you guys say clever things. Well, I mean, when it happens, sometime, inevitably, in future.
I think we lost him.
Wonder why I get muted all the time.
Let's see what we can do here. We got
Yeah.
disconnect.
That being said, though, my phylactery is burning, so I have to head on out.
Have fun.
Okay. Enjoy.
Thanks. It's been a while. Hopefully
Thanks for your time, man.
See you in 6 months.
Yeah, whenever I can, I'll join. Just as usual.
Whenever we procure the ingredients to perform the ritual to awaken him from his barrow once again.
That's correct. Heinrich Kammler, you need to pursue that skill tree, Niklas. It can't all be like runes and axe crafting. It has to be like the Krell tree in Total War Warhammer.
Go.
Maybe
you just want to be the best Kristoffer in the cast again. So I'll leave.
Take care, man.
Oh, that can be so
everyone. Good talk to you.
That can be so
Talk to you guys later.
Talk later. Bye. I found the ally section. Up to 25% of the army can be allies, and they can ally in only characters if they wish. They can use any combination of characters, regiments, and war machines. And dwarves, for this example, can ally Empire, Bretonia, Wood Elves, and High Elves.
It's trying to think if there's any faction I'm missing there, but not really. And Empire had everything in 5th edition.
Yeah.
Dwarves and Kislev.
Halfling, yeah. So you can ally in dwarves to dwarves because Empire have access to dwarves.
Yeah, if you want to be super fluffy about your regiment of puffy-sleeved rifle dwarves. Well, they are actually from Nuln, even though you can use them in your army.
I've actually been having that kind of thought regarding my marauder dwarves armed with crossbows, because they have the puffy sleeves of the Empire, and I've been like, yeah, I might actually do that. because I already have proper dwarfs right now, and the models look so different now and then when you look at them and their aesthetics. The current dwarf range is way more influenced by the old Norse dwarf models than they were of the normal dwarf models.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey, sorry,
long beards.
Got a load of this guy been living in an outdoor for 10 years, and now he's all puffy sleeved and shit.
Yeah, or he's been living there all his life, because there's a lot of homeless dwarfs that live within the Empire and their cities. I mean, every major city in the Empire have a dwarf community.
And they have quite an extensive part of most of the major cities are built by dwarves as well.
Yeah.
Because somehow they did just lose most of their holds to green things and furry things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great in the role-playing books. Like whenever you're going around in imperial cities, there's always dwarves about. Like the whole underground system in Middenheim was built by the dwarves, I think.
Yeah.
Everything, and part of the walls were built by the dwarves as well, and designed by the dwarves. But they're still in the Middenheim book that came out after the Storm of Chaos, when they still have. There's a risk of running into a hell cannon or flarekin in the catacombs and tunnels beneath Middenheim.
Wow.
Yeah, just imagine you have like a level 5 or level 3 to 5 party of characters that are basically useless, and then just oh, that's a hell cannon. Just a random encounter. Or just imagine that a warband just going down and they have just walk and exploring, and they hear sounds behind them, and they're basically being stalked by hell cannon.
I play that for 3rd edition fantasy roleplay. I remember we went down into the catacombs beneath Middenheim, and then it's like, oh, we can't see anything, so we light a match, and the GM just goes like, oh, but the tiny scent you smelled before turned out to be explosive gases. You all die.
Oh God.
Well, that is brilliant.
Fun.
I had a GM in this thing we played 2nd Ed. There was one of the players was playing as Slayer, and it wasn't a fun character, nor a fun person to play with. So he just decided, my Slayer is gonna kick a rabbit. That's an extra river, and he was required to roll. He trips over the rabbit, falls into the river, and drowns.
Serves him right. I mean, role-playing a Slayer, in my eyes, it's one of the most fun things. I mean, you're supposed to feel miserable when you play, loathing yourself, hating yourself. You're supposed to like take all kinds of drugs you can get your hands on just to kill your inner bad thoughts. You need to drink beer all the time just to get by. I mean, they live by constant pain. Because dwarves are a proud race.
He was basically playing it the opposite. It was being annoying, being whiny, being whiny while also claiming I'm the best all the time. So it was just, you're not gonna be in this anymore.
I mean, during my last session, we haven't played because COVID. My dwarf, he was always intoxicated every single time. That's
I'm gonna.
It gave me.
It would be easier to roleplay him as you were chugging bottle of rum.
Shit, yeah. I actually was drinking during. I was drinking during one of the sessions, which we did over Discord. So it's like, I'm gonna have a few beers while playing. So it really helped out. I
was actually gonna propose this. Should we do a podcast game, like a video of a role playing? Over like Discord or anything.
Does someone want to GM?
We need to if people want us to do this, write in so we actually know that there's interest, because there's a lot of thought going into something like this, but it would be fun. At least I think so.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, reach out to us if you feel like you would like to GM this crazy bunch. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. Also, we're probably not going to go into the exact latest releases, because there is another podcast that does that, and it's called the Old World Podcast. If you want to listen to people playing the latest version of the Warhammer Fantasy role-playing game, it would be just us doing something similar, but way, way worse.
Yeah. But like doing a one-shot adventure would be fun as a start.
Yeah, and it, in lieu of actually getting together and having game nights, it could be something just to do.
Yeah.
More or less.
All right, guys, I gotta head out.
Yeah.
What time is it? Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So to round up, if people want us to do this or any other thing, write in. And Niklas is going to go watch Foxes, I guess.
Chase them off.
I think we're all gonna round up now. It's way way past. I actually had plans around 10, which I forgot. so
Yeah,
I'm 15 minutes late.
Yeah, but it's the academic kvart,
Yeah,
But see you guys and see you everyone else in the next episode.
Thanks for and thanks for the chat, everyone. It's been great hearing from you again.
Yeah, nice doing some hobby chatting. I got a dwarf painted.
Yeah. Nice. That's more hobbying than I got done tonight.
All right, see you guys next episode.
See you.